You are listening to The Vocal Technologist. Spoken Tech for your ears.
So, what if I told you that, like, one of the most ruthless, highly effective tools for capturing a developer's email address isn't some brilliant white paper
Right.
or, a free open source software tool, but rather, and this is wild, a completely broken web page.
I mean, it sounds incredibly counterintuitive because in any normal context, a broken link is just a failure state,
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
the exact moment a user closes the tab and, well, never comes back.
Right, which brings us directly to today's mission. So, welcome to our latest deep dive. We are looking at a stack of 3 sources sent in by you, our listener.
Yeah, and thank you for sending these in, by the way.
Yes, thank you. Now, looking at the initial brief, we thought we were in for like a grueling, highly rigorous afternoon.
Oh, absolutely.
Because these sources look like incredibly deep, highly technical breakdowns of modern programming, cloud architecture, data logging, all of that.
We were fully ready to get into the weeds of server integrations.
Yeah, and deployment pipelines. But instead, every single source you provided turned out to be a digital dead end, literally a 404 error page.
And most people, they hit that wall and immediately abandon ship. You just assume the site is broken, you get frustrated, and you go right back to your search engine.
Okay, let's unpack this, because giving up is absolutely not what we are doing today.
No, definitely not.
Rather than framing this as, like, a failure of the source material, this actually handed us a phenomenal real-time meta-analysis opportunity.
It really did.
We aren't going to talk about the software itself today. We are going to dissect the anatomy of a modern tech marketing funnel.
Right, the digital decay of information.
Exactly. And most importantly, how a missing page is being weaponized as a doorway to capture an audience.
It's a brilliant pivot, honestly. We get to look at the invisible architecture of audience capture. Like, we are examining the system that leverages the promise of technical knowledge to essentially sell you on a community.
Yeah, but before we examine the dead end itself, we have to talk about the bait. We need to explore what compelled you, the listener, and frankly us, to click these links in the first place.
The hooks.
Right. We have to look at the ghosts of the missing content, which are the titles.
The promises made right up until, the rug was pulled.
Exactly. And these are not generic promises. Let's look at the exact wording from the sources. So the first one promised us cloud and systems content.
Okay.
It read, Boundary 1.0 with a lock emoji, Flowsheet AWS emulator with a cloud emoji, and Context Forge with a little robot emoji.
Which, if you're working in modern cloud architecture, those are highly potent keywords.
Oh, for sure.
Boundary is an identity-aware access management tool. Context Forge hints at managing AI context windows, which is a massive bottleneck right now.
Huge.
And an AWS emulator. That's the holy grail for developers wanting to test cloud infrastructure locally without running up Amazon server bills.
Right. Then the second source tried to hook us with deployment and operations. It was Docker and Vercel with a package emoji, safe feature flags with an orange safety vest emoji, and Discord cost attribution with a money bag emoji.
Yeah.
As someone who likely uses Docker daily, you know exactly how complex containerizing an application and deploying it seamlessly to an edge network like Vercel can be.
Oh, it speaks directly to the 2 a.m. pain points of a DevOps engineer.
Literally.
If your deployment pipeline is breaking or, you're trying to figure out why your Stardust Discord server is just bleeding money through unoptimized API calls, that link is practically a lifeline.
A total lifeline. And finally, the third source leans heavily into data and logging. SQL alerting with a bar chart emoji, Victoria logs with a literal piece of wood emoji, and Flink S3 with a lightning bolt.
Wow.
We are talking about hyper-fast back-end time series data with Victoria logs and real-time stream processing with Apache Flink. It's serious, heavy-duty data engineering.
It really is.
But here's where I want to push back, because something is jumping off the screen at me.
The emojis.
Yes. Every single one of these dense, highly technical concepts is paired with an emoji, like a literal piece of wood for Victoria logs, a bright orange safety vest for safe feature flags.
And the lock and key for Boundary.
Right. Are these just modern hieroglyphics? Because, frankly, it feels a bit manipulative to me.
Oh, interesting.
Is this like a psychological trick to make dry topics like Discord cost attribution feel playful and urgent before you pull the bait and switch?
Well, what's fascinating here is that the emojis are doing significant dual duty.
Okay, how so?
From a purely user interface perspective, yes, they break up the visual monotony of complex jargon. They're visual anchors in a sea of text.
Right.
But on a deeper structural level, these titles represent almost aggressively niche topics. They act as an incredibly precise filter.
Way to filter by using playful symbols.
Think about the mechanics of a marketing funnel. You don't just want traffic, right?
Yeah.
You want qualified traffic.
Okay, yeah.
If you don't know the difference between Victoria logs and a standard SQL database, you're going to scroll right past this.
That makes sense.
But the people who do stop, the people who understand the value of an AWS emulator,
Yeah.
they are guaranteed to be a highly targeted demographic.
Oh, wow.
The titles, softened by those emojis, dictate exactly who enters the funnel: senior developers, engineers, and tech founders.
It's like an exclusive club. They are essentially shouting a highly specific technical dialect into a crowded room, and only the native speakers are turning their heads.
Exactly. And once you turn your head and click that link, you've signaled your expertise. You've categorized yourself.
Right.
And that is the exact moment the environment drastically changes.
Which brings us to the jarring reality of what you actually experience upon arrival. So we have this hyper-specific targeted hook. You click on Context Forge with a little robot emoji, genuinely expecting a deep dive on AI token management.
Naturally.
And what happens? You hit a wall. All three of these distinct, wildly different tech queries lead to the exact same roadblock.
A completely unified experience of failure across the board.
I'll read the exact phrasing directly from the source. You click the link, the page loads, and you are greeted with, sorry, the page you're looking for doesn't exist.
It is blunt, and, it offers no alternative route to the information you requested.
Yeah, and I'm not fully buying that this is some masterstroke of marketing genius, though. Couldn't this just be incompetence?
How do you mean?
Well, websites break all the time. Content management systems get updated, URL slugs change, things get lost. Couldn't this just be a lazy webmaster who failed to update their links?
It could be, but we have to look at the underlying mechanics of how websites handle failure.
Okay.
When a server cannot find a requested page, it returns an HTTP status code known as a 404. Now, if this were simply a lazy webmaster updating a site, standard SEO practice dictates you use a 301 redirect.
Meaning you automatically forward the user to a new relevant page.
Exactly. If the Docker and Vercel article moved, a 301 redirect seamlessly sends you to the new URL, or at least to a general DevOps category page.
Right, you try to preserve the user's intent.
Right. But here, they explicitly chose not to do that. They allow the server to return the 404 error, but they dynamically wrap that error in a very specific custom-built component.
So they know you're hitting a dead end, and they are controlling exactly what that dead end looks like.
Yes. And if we connect this to the bigger picture, we have to look at the psychology of user interface design.
Okay.
In traditional web design, a 404 page is usually cluttered. It has a search bar, a return home button, maybe a list of popular articles.
Oh, yeah, like a sitemap almost.
Exactly. But this page, it strips all of that away. By giving you a single, unadorned sentence. Sorry, the page you're looking for doesn't exist. They are deliberately creating massive negative space.
It's a cognitive reset.
Yes. Think of your cognitive load when you land on a typical tech blog. You've got sidebars, banner ads, cookie pop-ups. Your eyes dart everywhere.
Totally.
By presenting almost nothing, they instantly clear the room. They eliminate all distractions.
You know, it reminds me of the layout of a grocery store. You know how they always put the essential items, the milk, the eggs, at the very back of the store?
So you have to walk past everything else to get what you came for.
Right? But this is almost the inverse. You
Well-
came for the milk, the specific article on SQL alerting. You get to the back of the store, and the fridge is completely empty.
It's just bare.
Yeah, there's just a polite sign saying, no milk today. And because you are standing there, disoriented, staring at an empty wall, you are entirely vulnerable to whatever they put directly in your line of sight.
And what they put in your line of sight is the grand pivot.
Here's where it gets really interesting. Because the very next line of text, the trap snapping shut, basically happens immediately.
Yep.
We transition from the dead end directly to the conversion. The failure to deliver the Docker article is instantly, without even a paragraph break, replaced with a sweeping promise.
It's so fast.
Let me read the exact text that follows the apology. It says, get the most interesting stories in startups, tech, and programming delivered in a free daily email. Subscribe.
Notice the massive shift in scope there.
It's astronomical. I mean, you clicked a link looking for a microscopic, highly granular detail about Apache Flink integrating with Amazon S3.
Right.
They apologize for not having it and then instantly offer you the entire universe of startups, tech, and programming.
It is classic misdirection, but engineered for the web. And importantly, look at the modifiers they use. They promise it is free, and they promise it is daily.
But I have to stop you there because as a user, my guard is entirely up at this point.
Understandably.
You just pulled a bait and switch on me. You promised me technical documentation and gave me an error page. Why on earth would I reward that behavior by handing over the keys to my inbox for a daily email?
See, this raises an important question about how platforms overcome user skepticism. You are right to be defensive. You feel tricked.
Yeah, exactly.
The promise of a free newsletter isn't enough to make you convert when trust has just been broken. And that is why the architecture of this page relies on one final, devastatingly effective element.
The social proof.
Exactly. The true genius of this funnel isn't the pivot to the newsletter itself. It's the number that immediately follows it.
The final line in all three sources. Right below the subscribe prompt, it reads, join 1,600,000 readers for one daily email, and it links out to their latest tech API to prove it.
1.6 million readers. We really need to pause and appreciate the sheer scale of that number in this context.
It's staggering. In the highly fragmented niche world of tech newsletters, 1.6 million developers and founders is essentially a small, sovereign nation.
It really is. And it is deployed here with incredible precision to short-circuit your skepticism.
How so?
Let's break down the psychological timeline of the user over the span of about, say, 4 seconds. First, anticipation, triggered by the emoji-laden, highly technical title.
Right.
Second, disappointment, hitting the 404 error page. Third, defensive intrigue, seeing the offer of a daily email. At that third stage, as you said, your guard is up. You are ready to close the tab.
I am literally hovering my mouse over the X.
But then, you read 1,600,000 readers. That figure acts as a massive counterweight to your disappointment. Subconsciously, the user logic shifts.
Oh, I see.
You think, well, if 1.6 million of my peers, other highly technical people who care about AWS emulators and feature flags, are willing to give this company their email address, what do they know that I don't?
Wow. It weaponizes FOMO, the fear of missing out.
Precisely. You suddenly feel like you are standing on the outside of a massive, thriving community. The broken link you were mad about 2 seconds ago is completely forgotten.
That's crazy.
The perceived value of the free offer skyrockets simply by associating it with a crowd of 1.6 million people. The broken promise is overshadowed by the gravity of the crowd.
That is frankly brilliant and more than a little unsettling.
Yeah, a bit.
It entirely reframes the architecture of the web experience. You came looking for a single data point to solve a problem at work. You hit a brick wall, and in the split second you are disoriented, they open a door to a stadium with 1.6 million people cheering inside and casually ask if you want a free ticket.
It takes the weakest structural point of the internet, the broken link, and engineers it into a high-converting asset.
Wow.
Whether those links broke naturally over time or were intentionally left to rot to cast a wider net, the efficiency of the catch is just undeniable.
So bringing this all together, this has been an incredibly bizarre but deeply revealing journey for this deep dive.
It really has.
You sent in these sources hoping to learn about the granular mechanics of Context Forge or how to optimize your Docker deployments or the intricacies of real-time stream processing with Flink. You wanted the technical blueprint.
And instead, we ended up analyzing the blueprint of the trap itself.
Exactly. We got a masterclass in the invisible architecture of digital marketing.
Right.
We broke down how hyper-specific emoji-coded titles are used, not just for aesthetics, but as a ruthless filtering mechanism to qualify an audience.
Right.
We examined the back-end mechanics of serving a 404 error instead of a 301 redirect to deliberately create negative space and capture undivided attention. And we saw how the sheer gravitational pull of a 1.6 million strong mailing list is deployed as the ultimate trump card against user skepticism.
It is a stark reminder that in the modern digital economy, the infrastructure designed to capture your attention is often far more sophisticated and far more heavily engineered than the content itself.
And as someone who values learning quickly and who actively tries to avoid information overload, navigating these digital roadblocks is a daily reality for you.
It is.
The question you really have to ask yourself the next time you hit one of these walls is, this is the promise of a curated free daily email actually worth trading your inbox access? Especially when the very first interaction you had with the platform was a hook that fundamentally failed to deliver on its promise.
It requires a transaction of trust in a completely trustless environment.
Yeah.
But analyzing these sources leaves us with a much larger, somewhat more melancholic reality to consider regarding how information survives.
You are talking about link rot.
I am. As the internet ages, the phenomena of link rot isn't just a marketing opportunity. It is an inevitable architectural decay.
Right, links die all the time.
Exactly. Servers migrate, content management systems are updated, and URL structures change without proper back-end redirects. The data literally unmoors itself and drifts away. We saw the result of it today across 3 completely different technical disciplines.
The ghosts of articles past.
Think about the implications. If highly specific, deeply niche technical knowledge, like those loft phantom articles on AWS emulators and SQL alerting, if that knowledge is gradually disappearing into a sea of polite pages that simply say the page you're looking for doesn't exist, what happens to our collective digital history?
That's a great question.
What happens to the granular problem-solving web when the only thing left functioning on the page, the only piece of code that actually survives the decay, is the subscription box?
Now that is a thought that will absolutely stick with you the next time you find yourself staring at a beautifully painted brick wall on the internet, wondering where the knowledge went. Thank you so much for bringing such an unexpectedly profound set of sources to the table today. We'll see you on the next deep dive.
Spoken Tech for your ears.